Welcome to episode 1. He is Lais, and I am the coach, and that is the name of our show.
Everything stems from our identity.
You can still take a chance and take a risk, right?
What is the level of intention and attention that you were putting forth?
To us, success is being able to live life on our terms.
You're either going to take care of your health by choice or by obligation. So make it a choice now.
But it's about the experience.
If you're part of the living, you're going to have life.
What if it is better than you even thought?
We all have that limitless potential.
The fear that steps into most people paralyzes them.
I don't think anyone's ever said any of the shit you just said, which is amazing.
There's a lot of parts of you that you should let go of.
You have time for all of that. You have time for this too.
Guys, we are back.
We're back, bitches!
Welcome, everybody, to Lais and the Coach. Welcome, everybody, to Lais and the Coach, and it is 2026, so we have more and more conversations. Today's guest, we are super excited to talk to. We have Marlene on the show with us, who is a former high-level CrossFit athlete turned holistic postpartum coach, and she is the founder of the Mighty Moms Blueprint. Marlene, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here with you guys.
Oh, we are excited. We are excited to talk. So one of the things that we have in common is that we talk a lot about identity shifts, right? And shifting identity. So walk us through how you went from, CrossFit all the time to what you're doing now.
Yeah, that's I do love that you have that angle with your show, which is what made me excited to sit with you guys. I thought this would be such a fun discussion. So yeah, it's been a few shifts, haven't it? Even Lais, you've been a competitive, also athlete in your own way, and I don't know how you felt, but when you competed for a really long time, because for me, I was, like I said, a high-level CrossFit athlete. I went to the CrossFit Games. I did CrossFit regionals. I was on the top 1% for many, many years.
Wow.
So it becomes your identity, right? It's not just something you do anymore. You are the CrossFit athlete, and it becomes very ingrained in you for good and bad. So when I turned, I decided, okay, now I competed. It's time, I want to start a family. Let's, with my husband, we want to have kids. So then you have to first, okay, let me try to turn that off, which was really hard because you still need to accept I need to slow down, and not slow down, but, things will shift. You're not going to be just you. You have to change your priorities and all these things. And as a coach, I've been coaching for more than 20 years, with holistic health. I worked in a rehab clinic, strength and conditioning coach for at a Premier League football club and things like that. So, I know my stuff. So being healthy and taking care of my body as a mom, easy peasy. I got this, no problem. And I was good at getting back into shape, but I couldn't wrap my head around why I wasn't happy, why I was struggling. I felt things were hard. I felt overwhelmed. I didn't feel like I was showing up as a mom, as a business owner, and these things as I wanted to, because I was still stuck as the athlete. You push, it's results driven in the same way. Well, and that I just realized, hang on a second, this, okay, I have my body back and, I'm fit and I'm healthy and I eat right and I do these things, but I'm not happy. And that's what it's so much more to health than, so I had to really dig into, okay, what is it, my old identity that I keep slipping back into, and what do I need to adapt and embrace once I enter motherhood. So that, I think, was my whole journey. So, that's what I created, my own coaching system on that. What kind of support would I have wanted when I became a mom to help me through this transition, just not just on a physical level, but emotional and emotional and mental as well.
Just so that we have a little bit of context, what what was involved in your training, or what was your training regimen like when you were competing, during the games and regionals and things like that, just so that people understand what you're talking about? Because sometimes people think it's like, oh, you went to the gym, 30, 40 minutes. Like, can you, like, with as much detail as you feel comfortable sharing, like, what was it like training at that level?
For like, I guess it's different for everybody because I still was working, so it wasn't my full-time gig to compete. So usually it was between once and twice a day, depending on the day that I was doing. And maybe I had one rest day, like one day when I didn't do much, I went swimming for an hour, or just like I did something different just to give my body a break. But as I don't know, also for the people who are listening who don't really know what CrossFit is, it's a lot of different modalities it's a lot of endurance. You need to be able to run. They have the rowing machine, you have ski ergs. Sometimes you need to do the actual thing to row in a boat and things like that. It's a lot of gymnastics. You need to be able to do ring muscle ups, bar muscle ups, handstand walking, pull ups, chin ups, push ups. And it's usually a lot of volume to it. And of course, you need to be strong. It's powerlifting movements. You need to deadlift, you need to squat, you need to push press. It's Olympic lifting. You need to snatch, you need to clean, you need to jerk. Like, it's all like so many different things. So your training have to be very diverse. I can't just show up 3 days a week because I can't cover, it's impossible to cover all of those things. So I used to maybe do an hour of Olympic lifting, an hour and a half for Olympic lifting one day. And then in the afternoon, then I went to work. And then in the afternoon, I did some endurance-based something, just pure endurance. Maybe I did a 10K run. Sometimes I did shorter intervals for more speed. Sometimes you do like a mixed modalities. You have snatches, and then I'm going to go into a row, and then I'm going to do some muscle ups after, and you do a circuit style. So it very much depended on the cycle, if it's mid-season, if it's pre-season, like all these things. But yeah, to summarize, maybe I spent 15 hours a week on my training.
Wow. Wow. And before you go, because I know that she's dying to go, it's I feel like it's understandable that if you're doing 15 hours a week of anything, that becomes who you are, right? Just like in her case before she shares, where you're not doing any of those things, it's hard to turn into the competitor or the athlete or that next version, because 15 hours of laundry are ingrained, right? Or 15 hours of cooking. So it's very easy for people to not understand how much of their identity will dictate how they execute whatever it is that they're looking to do.
Yeah, no, like how they operate, to your point, 100. I did the opposite of you. I wasn't an athlete and I wasn't, into anything when I had my son, but I did feel the same thing that you're saying, where once I did, then I didn't really have an identity. Because when you go through something that major, you are always searching to go back to the previous you. Like, I'm going to get my body back. I'm going to get back to me. I'm going to find myself again. And we don't realize as women that that person is gone. Like, she's dead. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way you could ever be that person again, because you can no longer unsee, unfeel, undo what you just experienced in, let's say, the first year of motherhood. And so for me, I was lost and without identity, but because I had put all of my identity into my son and my home and my marriage, and I wasn't really doing any of the things that I was doing before, which was to work and to have things of my own. I would work out just because, we owned a gym, but I wasn't really doing anything for myself. So my identity became the mom and the housewife. And then I was like, man, like, this is crazy because it's everything I ever wanted, but I'm so unhappy. I'm so empty. It's not enough. And so shifting from that into something as, I guess, selfish as, an athlete is tricky, because you have to do it for you. And there are a lot of things that go into it. And so splitting the identity is really, the kind of like the sweet spot where like you are a mom and you are a wife and you are these things, but you're also an athlete, a model, whatever it is that, you know, anybody is. And so I did it kind of backwards, but I also will say that even inside of doing it backwards, there's like, there are levels, and I don't mean like levels as in like things that you do, but more like phases is what I'm trying to say. To where even after that, I was like, okay, now my identity is really wrapped up in the athlete, and it's like, and I don't want it to be, and then it's hard to get out of that one. So we are constantly evolving and constantly creating, I guess, a different identity, or we should be. And it's tricky on either direction, whether you're going the mom route or whether you're going the athlete route, or back and forth between the two.
No, absolutely. It's so true as you say with also as you, Raphael, with identity, it steers our behaviors, right? The way we think, the way we act, the choices we make. It's so, and as you said, like you don't feel happy that because I speak with so many moms, and one of the biggest struggles is feeling the change, seeing especially their physical change. Maybe they gain more weight than they wanted. They weighed more than they ever have. They don't lose the weight, so now they feel a bit lost in the way they look. They don't recognize themselves. You have stretch marks, maybe some loose skin. It's like all these different things. And as you said, you want to go back to what you had because that's familiar. That's where I feel safe. This is what served me. And even though I had the athlete, I know I wasn't going to compete. So I knew logically, of course, I'm not going to train 15 hours a week again. It's not what I want to do. I want to move away from that. I want to be fit and I want to take care of my body, but I don't want to do that. But I kept always comparing myself. I sit on the rowing machines. Oh, 5 years ago, I could do it this fast. And now I don't even do that and I'm dying. And you keep putting yourself down because you don't live up to that old blueprint that you had. So even though that's not serving me, I don't want it anymore, but still your brain goes there. And just as you said, we can't go back, especially like from pre-pregnancy in your motherhood, like there's no going back. I usually tell women it's like you're now the butterfly looking back at the caterpillar. It's just
Right.
like that's you can't go back to being a caterpillar. It's just not gonna happen because
And
like
to your
you're
point, even that's why I said phases, because even after I, so I was a mom in a rut, and then I was the athlete on stage, and I look great and I feel great. But there are, there's off seasons, like you said, depending on what I'm preparing for, I train this way or I eat this way. And then so same for me. So depending on where I was, now I'm like unhappy with how I look or how I'm lifting or what it was happening. And he's like, okay, but you can't compare it to, let's say, your stage moment. I'm like, that's the only thing I can compare it to because that's where I feel my best, right? And so
the
even
highlight, the highlight.
right. So even it's like the shift of like, okay, I'm no longer a mom in a rut, but then I shifted my identity, like now I'm an athlete and I'm a model, so this is where I live. But you don't. No one lives anywhere. You maneuver around different phases of everything, but that becomes the benchmark, right? And then it's I hear you. Logically, you're like, no, but at the same time, yes, that's how it feels.
You touched on something before. It's like, what do you think most women underestimate about how motherhood changes who they are?
I think especially it is the expectations and beliefs you take on almost unknowingly once you become a mom. It's like you go into this is how I'm going to introduce solids. Like you go into the practicals, like I'm going to take care of this and I'm going to learn this. And, am I going to breastfeed and how do you do it? And their first words. And you go into the parent part. But then I think they just underestimate how much it affects you to take on what does it mean to me to be a good mom? And we all have a different idea, I think, of what that looks like. But it seems culturally, at least lately, I feel like women feel the need to take on all of it. So if I was a high performing woman in sports, I need to be able to do it and be the perfect mom. Or if I'm in business and I'm running my own business or I'm a working like mom, I need to perform at work, and I need to do like hit all my targets there, and I'm gonna be the most present parent ever, and then I need to, you know, be the social butterfly, and I'm gonna hit the gym, and I'm gonna take care of my body, and I'm gonna, of course, I need to rest and take it easy, and it's so I think that becomes so much that we do so much. I know actually you talked about this in another episode, which I really loved. It's just what is enough? That because we keep doing and doing and doing, and it's never enough. Because even if I spend 8 hours a day at home, like I'm working from home, so like I was with my son 24/7. You know, I was his go-to person. I did everything, you know, you cook and you clean and you take care of him, and you try to balance, get things done for yourself and for your business and everything. And I could spend 8 hours with him and still you feel like, did I do enough? Did I say
Yep.
enough?
Yeah.
Did I do this? Like,
Did I
oh,
look
like I
up when he was
snapped at
talking
him.
to me?
Yeah, like, oh, did I miss that? Like, should I have said, I should have said it differently? And then you're just like, oh crap, I didn't send those emails. Oh, I should have contacted that person. I didn't do enough over there. And then, oh, I did only train, like, I didn't even train today. I didn't have time. Like, oh, now I missed that. Oh, I didn't do enough for myself today. And it's just, you keep constantly self-criticizing and downplaying the things that you did right, and then you just over exaggerate all the things that you missed, and like, I didn't do enough of this, I didn't do enough of that. And I think that's like one of the things that we really underestimate, that we just need to, as you say, it's a different phase, and now we need to set different benchmarks for what is enough for me to feel like this was a good day. So what do I need to do for my fitness for this week for it to be a good week? How much time do I want to spend with my family? And just find a sweet spot. It will go up and down. It's not going to be that perfect sweet spot all the time, but just so we stop living in this survival mode, hustle culture that we get sucked into because we have to do it all. Otherwise, we are not a good mom. We're not succeeding in motherhood. We are doing it wrong, or we're simply not enough.
I agree with
I
that.
was gonna ask something, but then I changed it halfway. I was gonna ask if it's difficult for high achieving women because they're used to succeeding, that when motherhood shows up and there's no instruction manual and you're not
God
ready
knows
to
they're
deal,
not.
right? And you're not necessarily ready to deal with the guilt. Like, how do you deal with that? But as I was thinking about it, that same concept, right? Is that person, is that mom feeling that isn't feeling guilty because she doesn't show up in other areas? For example, somebody who maybe doesn't care about whether their job is good or not, or maybe doesn't necessarily take care of their health the way an athlete does. Are they feeling the same level of guilt as a mom instinctually because you're a mother now, or are they showing up kind of the same way where they're half-assing it, for lack of a better word? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, mom guilt is a tricky one. They say stress is a silent killer. Mom guilt is a silent killer. I feel like none of us like, but I hear what you're saying. It's like, how does that differ where it shows
Right,
up? Yeah,
or is it showing up at all? Like,
right.
is there a scenario where someone doesn't feel guilty? Like, well, oh well, I didn't pay attention to you
I
today.
want to meet her. I need some of whatever she's
Yeah.
having.
And
I
I'm not
think,
saying it in a bad way. I'm asking more like, because my original question was going to be about high achieving, right? It's like, if you're great at business and you're a great athlete and you're a great this, and then all of a sudden you have a baby and you're like lost, it's understandable that it's frustrating because you're used to being great. And now all of a sudden the baby's dictating.
And not only do you not feel great, but there are no metrics. Like you're
Right.
saying, how do you measure that you're doing it well when you're used to measuring it for work?
But then what about people that are not necessarily
Measuring it,
striving
yeah.
for greatness?
Do they have mom guilt?
Do they have mom guilt?
Yeah. What do you think?
like I will happily see I'll see what I think, and then I would love to hear what you think. I think there's two sides to it, because I'm speaking from my own perspective. I think what made me struggle a lot, as I said, with I think high achieving women, whether it's like business, even like personal growth or whatever you people like mothers that are driven or women that are driven in some way. I think what we struggle most with, like again speaking for myself, is like the motherhood is like you touched on lack of control. Is that all of a sudden we're so used to get those results, you are in a very controlled environment, like I said, with training. Like for me, for example, like the training and the schedule, and things need to happen in a certain way at a certain time for optimal results. And you know how to do that. Also, as a coach, you know that when you coach your athletes and like the people you deal with. So you have the lack of control, it's the lack of structure, you have the unpredictability. It's like I said, because it's like a threat to us, right? When things like we get curveball after curveball after curveball, and you need to try to problem solve, and like, then they're not listening to you, and why are they not doing as they say? Like, we need to be out this door in 5 minutes. Like, get your shoes on. Why are you like going to the bathroom right now? We don't have time for this. Like these things. I think that is us. Like, we lose our structure that we thrive on as driven people.
Yep.
But I think those who are necessarily driven in that aspect, I think the guilt comes in, just as with any mom. I think it is you want to do the best job you possibly can, and you keep doubting yourself because, as you said, there is no manual. I don't know, should I put him in this school or should I go to this school? Is this a good friend or this someone that's gonna mess them up? Like, oh, they got sick, is that my fault? Maybe I shouldn't have given him this for dinner. Should they have juice? Like, oh, now they say it's like heavy metals in this salt. Do I need to do this now? Like it's, especially if you go like, it's just so much over analyzing, and you don't know, like, I don't know if I'm making the right choice. As you said, there's zero metrics. I can only guess, especially when they're little, they can't communicate with you, and you just have to like wing it and hope for the best. And I think that is just the guilt that comes with any parent, that like, am I doing a good enough job? I don't know. It's just up in the air.
Yeah, and I think we forget, to your point of, doing so much, we forget that we're human in that process. It's almost like you want to be a machine, right? Where you're like, I can execute at work or in my business, I can execute at the gym. When you're with your partner, it's a back and forth, right? Hopefully you're in the right partnership, and everybody plays a role, and everybody in it, throw the ball back and forth. But with your kid, not only do you have this responsibility where you don't want to mess them up, you don't know if you are, you'll never freaking know, right? I'm still having conversations with my parents and trying to figure out, things. But it's one of those things where it's like, there is no manual. It throws you for a loop. Just when you figure them out, they change. That's been the worst.
Oh, yeah. Oh
Right?
my God. I remember when there was a baby, like especially when they're newborn, because for me, like the first baby, I feel is the one that really mess you up the
Yes.
most. Because it's your first, like, this is my first rodeo now. I have no
Yes.
idea what I'm doing. Absolutely. And as you said, like I just figured out, okay, if I shake him this way, if I
Yes.
rock him this way, I sing this song twice, he'll sleep.
Yeah.
And now like 2 weeks,
For like 3, yeah.
we're doing great. We're flying, like, and you feel like, ooh, I got motherhood nailed.
Just when you think you got it, they change on you.
Yeah.
And so we forget that inside of that responsibility, there's a human behind it that's also learning, right? Like, you're raising a kid and you're also raising yourself, or, developing the same way in that process. And I agree with what you're saying, but when you're used to structure because you're used to success in whatever area of your life, and you're used to parameters, then it is really difficult, because I don't care how structured somebody wants to be. I don't care what time you think nap time is supposed to be. That kid has got a mind of its own, and you're human, and one day you're going to be fucking tired, and you're not going to care, and you're going to do whatever you need to do, And so you do have to adjust in a way where it's just out of the norm, I guess you could say. So I agree with that.
Let's talk a little bit about like a bounce back culture, right? Like what does sustainable like postpartum, or what should a sustainable postpartum approach look like?
So, like, to give texture, to give context to what bounce back culture is, like, to me, bounce back culture is this, as you said, simply said the pressure for women that once you had a baby, you need to go back to especially look like you used to do. Preferably, it should be like all the aspects, right? We should be able to, just as Leigh said, we should be able to work as we did. We should be able to still see our friends. We should go to that salon appointment we always did. We should hit the gym. We should still make healthy meals. We should hang out with our partner and be a present partner and doing all the things. But most, I think, from social media and media in general, it's the physical. You should look like you didn't have a baby. You don't want to lose skin. You don't want any stretch marks. You shouldn't look older. You shouldn't look different. So that is to me like the toxic part of it too, because like we just discussed, there is no going back, right? So they already perpetuating this impossible idea, and women try to follow it, and then they fail because it's doomed to fail, obviously. And then they feel frustrated and they feel that they're doing something wrong when no, it's the whole premise is wrong. Like we try to prove a theory that can't be proven. So what I became very passionate about when I created my system that helped me a lot, it was about creating capacity for me. Like if you are like bouncing back, is first of all embracing the fact that you are now in a different phase. You are a different person. You're gonna have different values. You're gonna have different needs for you to feel good and just be happy in general. Be curious about what that means. Like what do I actually need now to make me happy? What do I need now to be healthy? Because I have different responsibilities. I have a different body. I have different resources in terms of time and energy and money to use to achieve these goals that were different now. So what I started focusing a lot on to help my moms is creating capacity, that we need to build a bank of so we can handle motherhood. So, we need to put things back into the system because it's so easy that we just want to do. We want to hit the gym. We're going to cut down calories. Like we take things away from us at a phase when we need to nourish like mind and body and soul, as a whole. So that is what I just became more into, that so the more we can raise the capacity, because you feel so in survival mode, you're just running on fumes, you have a baby that wakes you up, I don't have time to eat, I don't have time to sleep. And so of course things feel more overwhelming. Of course you're not going to feel motivated because you're just scrambling for things. So to learn to just put more things back and heal the system so you can recharge your battery, then all of a sudden all these other things become available to you because you actually have the capacity now to kind of raise your energy and your options.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time.
Do you think that capacity has changed over time? And what I'm asking is, what a mom looked like in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s is very different than what a mom is like now.
She had help.
And,
yeah. They had help.
No village anymore, and we're supposed to look even better.
So
I know, right?
So has the capacity changed or has the standard changed?
I think the standard, like maybe actually a little bit of both, because just as Leigh said, I feel it was a more close-knitted community before, so you had more help, that you hung out, you had all the little all the moms next door you met up. Maybe I'm being very romantic about this, maybe that's not what it was like, but it's like yeah, but it's to take for like my parents, for example, like I grew up on the countryside, like it's very remote. There are, within the next 5 miles, it might be 6 houses, and they all had kids kind of around the same ages, and we all went around and played together. You went to each other's houses and you played in each other's gardens, and it was just more chill. I feel like then also it was a more natural way. They didn't Google everything, like, oh, he coughed twice, maybe I need to Google what's going on, what can I do about it. Like it wasn't that over analyzing if you're doing everything right all the time. I feel they were more into, it was more intuitive. They actually let themselves be more in tune and intuitive. Like, does this feel right in my gut? Now I think we're too much in our head,
Yeah,
and
they
we
definitely didn't have
compare.
mom guilt. They
No,
did
not
not have mom
in,
guilt.
not in the way like we have now. I think we're so in our head and we analyze everything and we need to check, and there are charts and there's so I think that is also separating us a little bit. And I also, like I said, when I coach, even with, take for example, food, like what to eat, what's healthy. And for me, it's just like, I don't gonna give you a meal plan. I want to know like like how does your body respond to foods? Because I know what works for me, but I don't know if that's gonna work for you. You know, like let's see, do you break out in hives? Do you have a really crappy sleep? Do you get hungry? You know, I don't know. So let's you get in tune. Stop reading what XYZ celebrity did to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. You know, start listening and noticing what's happening with everything. Like, it's like, do you feel good when you do this? Good. Do you feel crap when you do this? Maybe you should stop. Maybe we need to do something different, because your body will tell you. And I think the same with our gut instinct as a mom, like just to try to I'm sure you heard it's like you take your baby to the doctor and they say, "Oh, no, 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 they're fine." But like inside, you're just like, something doesn't feel right. And they take them to a different doctor and they actually did find something, or, you know, something else came out. It's just like, it's that, like, oh, if it
We
doesn't
know.
feel, yeah, you just know. Like, if you just allow yourself sometimes to just feel rather than think. So I think that's very different from then till now, that we're so much in, again, results driven. I said like we're going to use flashcards from when they're born to make sure that they excel in schools. It's like, relax. You know,
Right.
it's I think that's it. So we take on so much, I feel, that they didn't do before. And also
I,
no
I
village.
I do wanna take a moment to, because I don't always get these moments, and I have to acknowledge that the approach of coaching is what more coaching should look like. The I don't know what works for you yet. Let's figure it out together is the right approach. And I think that we are always looking for the person that's going to give us the answer because we want to fix it, but we don't realize that the coach that's out there that's actually going to help you has to have an understanding of who you are and what you do and how you respond to those things before they say anything. So I do have to take a moment to, like, yes, spot on, because I don't always have that opportunity because I don't see it that often.
No, I was
When
gonna
you,
say that. I'm like, wow, someone who speaks our language, because that's
right.
exactly how we coach. But then it's like a lot of coaches don't do that, right? Where you're not really getting to know.
Well, but it's because of what she said. It's like, here's what I do, now you do it, right?
Right,
It's like, that isn't coaching.
right.
That is,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
not
No,
what
that's
coaching is.
no, that's why I was so looking forward to talking with you guys, because we have the same
Yeah.
just like view of things. And that's it's, I don't know if you feel it, it's especially in this world now, that people, as you said, they're looking for like the solution for things. Just tell me what to do. So they're like, okay, but I need to know like X, Y, and Z about you, and we
Right.
need to see, because it's even with me personally, like with my food and my training, because it changes, right? It's like, did I have a really rough week with, like, we had just end of last year, my son got sick at nursery, like he's 4, so like preschool, I guess. So if you go through the motions, he gets sick and we get sick. It's just that lovely dance that we have. And then we were sick for 2 weeks. So obviously, like now when I start training, I need to feel, you know, how much can I do? I can't just jump in. I can't rush things. What I ate when I was sick is different from when I'm healthy and train a lot and I'm on the go a lot. It's just like things change even within the weeks that you do. So that's why I really want people to understand you need to get to know your body, because it's not empowering to me to tell someone what to do, because as soon as I shut my mouth and I don't tell them what to do, they're lost. And that's not empowering to anybody. I want you to be able to learn what to do so you can go about your life for the next 10, 20, 30 years and adjust to anything that comes your way without having to even look at social media or ChatGPT, you know?
And oddly enough, isn't that how parenting is, where you know your kid, you know what they need, you're trying to empower them to be self-sustaining without you, and you're trying to give them the tools. And but if you do it for them, then they're not going to get anything out of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's difficult sometimes also because, you know, you do want to service people and you do want to help them. And I understand that somebody may want a solution, but at the same time, if your end goal is to help somebody get what they're looking for, then you do have to have your way of doing it, your system, your blueprint. You have to have the way that you do it in order to get them the outcome that they came to you for in the first place.
Yeah.
Otherwise, then then what do you need the coach for, right? It's like if you know it, then
That's what I was gonna say. Like you said, ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
ChatGPT is great, but you gotta really know what you're inputting versus a coach that can tell by what you're saying and how you're saying it and how something sat and how you slept and all of that feedback, right? But then that leads to that person learning that about themselves.
So let's talk about the Mighty Mom Blueprint. How did you get there? How did you put it together? What is it? Like, what does it encompass?
So in short, as I said, it's very focused on building up that capacity, because we're usually stuck in that survival, overwhelm, burnt out. So let's put things back into the system. So we just raise the vibration a little bit, and then all of a sudden, when we feel better, we have more energy. Things all of a sudden, all these new things we want to do don't feel quite as overwhelming. Our kids don't feel quite as annoying as they used to do. Your partner is not going to feel quite as annoying either, you know, when they come and say things to you and you just want to smack them because you didn't sleep well or you're just tired and just like touched out and just, leave me alone. So I have it around 4 pillars. So we have a mindset part, because for me, that's the very foundation. We need to, as we touched on, like with our identity, our goals, where is our mind at when we start the whole process? Because if that's not aligned, you're not going to stick to anything in terms of habits in my world. At least that's what I see. Like we start something and then we stop. We start over again and then we try something that's similar and then we drop off. So it's just getting our head around what has changed, helping moms learn about this identity shift and the transition and what happens so they can handle the guilt, handle all the, unrealistic expectations that they subconsciously took on, like all those things. We do, of course, sleep and rest, how to optimize it, how to take care of our energy. Where does our energy go? How can we put energy back in as much as possible? Food, as I said, just like we need to figure out what works for you. So there is a strategy to it. And then you need to just learn how to listen to your body and we tweak it together. And last but not least, of course, we have movement. So with that, first we need to heal our core and make sure everything is, set and healed and recovered. And then depending on your fitness goal, we take it in whatever direction we need to do, but we need to lay the foundation and then, so you can safely go back to whatever level of movement, training, athleticism you want to do. So that's kind of the staples that I have in the blueprint. And then of course everything needs to be personalized, because everyone has different struggles. Everybody have different, levels of what they're able to commit at the time. So there's going to be different timelines. Some people can do it quickly. Some people are going to need more. And, all of it is okay, because I think it's like a Tony Robbins saying, like, most people don't have to adjust their goals, but their timelines. It's just we have this weird thing that like it needs to happen. If I can't make it shift in 6 weeks, then this is not for me. But it's like, like I'm still doing this 20 years later, and I still need to adjust and do things and change things. So, it's going to be a journey. So let's just
There
be
was
prepared
there
for
was
that.
there was something that you said there that I think is important. It's the I guess I guess most of us would call it burnout, right? When you're tired, you're fatigued, and you're stressed, and your patience diminishes significantly where everything is irritating. What do you say, or how do you explain to somebody that they just need a moment? They need to work on sleep when what they want is to see the scale go down, right? And everything becomes more overwhelming. I haven't lost a pound, or I haven't lost 2 pounds, and the kid's not sleeping, and my husband. But all that's happening is that you haven't filled your cup, and you're showing up empty for everything, but you almost like don't want to connect to that idea. Like you want I don't want to say that you want to make it about something else, but you don't have a way of connecting the dots, and you're missing that what's actually stressing you out is that you just haven't had a minute. And until you get that minute, none of the other things are going to flow in the direction that you want. Like, how do you help with that, or how do you position that?
They are kind of from two, like from a visual standpoint, I try to have them see, as you said, not a cup, but for me, it's like a bucket.
Okay.
Like you have a bucket that you try to pour things into. You try to pour all these good habits in. Like you try to eat better and move, and you're gonna like you try just to add things, but then you have all these leaks. So no matter what you put in, you're always gonna feel depleted because you have all these little, as you said, like maybe you're not sleeping right, maybe like I say, you're constantly self-criticizing and it really bums you out. It's like you have all these things that's just draining you. So unless you start plugging some of those leaks, it doesn't matter how much effort. So that's why you feel frustrated because you're trying to do all these good things and you can't keep it up because it's pouring out of your bucket. And then for the mindset shift, I usually like I almost want to have a billboard with this, like with because we have for as you said, like the selfish, like we feel selfish that we start doing things for ourselves. So like I think especially moms that are away from the home, they working late or when they come home, they really feel, and I feel that too, even though I'm with my son a lot, like I want to spend time with them. That should be the natural response. There's nothing that's wrong with that. You want to spend time with them. But I think we confused it became like self-sacrificing all of a sudden, that to be a good mom, we need to be all over self-sacrificing for everything and everybody. My kids always come first. And we've missed the mark. Like we misunderstood something. It's not that like my kids come first with me, and that means I should come last. That is not what that means. My kids come first to me is we want to do what is best for our kids. And that means you should be able to take care of yourself as a mom so you can show up at the best, fullest, most present version of you. Because that is what you give. That is how you give the best for your child. That is how you give them a great childhood. That's how you give them the greatest role model. And that means taking care of you so you can be that. So it's never selfish. If you ditch them all the time, yes, maybe, but if you really go like the extreme, but that is what that means. My kids come first because I want to do the best for my kids. And that means I need to be at my best as well, because if I don't even want to see them or talk to them because I'm so burnt out, I snap at them. I'm too tired to go and see their football game. I sit on my phone instead of engaging with them. That's not the parent you want to be. So why don't take 20 minutes, half an hour here and there, whatever you can find, recharge, reload, and you just feel like a better parent immediately.
I love what you said there because it's so true. Like we do associate it. I don't know where this started, but we do associate it with sacrifice, right? And then it becomes really interesting because on one side you have to sacrifice what you do for you, your well-being, and only cater to your kids. But on the other side, you're expected to look better than the Golden Girls who are pretty much our age, right? It's true. Like it used to be okay to dress that way, to look that way, but now it's like you have this on one side, this social media or society new standard, which I'm not mad at because I want to look 30 for the rest of my life. But at the same time, it's like, but then also you have to sacrifice. And I don't agree with that either. And one of the things that we always like to say, I know I've said it a few times, it's like, just because you make yourself a plate of food doesn't mean your kid's going to be starving that day, right? Like you can feed them their plate and have your plate and everybody eats. No one would ever say like, well, I can't eat. Like you said, there are always exceptions, but you're not going to be like, well, the kid's eating, so now there's no more food for me. It's like, there's food for everybody. Everybody needs to eat. What happens if I don't eat? I'm going to starve. I'm going to have no energy. So it's the same thing. It's like, just because you are doing stuff for you doesn't mean that your kid is missing out. You're not taking anything from anybody by taking the moments that you need to take to be the best you so that you can show up not irritable and feeling good about yourself and pour into your relationship, which matters in your home, and give a good role model. But when you give the food analogy, it's always interesting to me because it's like no one would in their right mind would be like, yeah, I'm not gonna have lunch because if I eat, my kid can't eat. Like, no, everybody's got to eat.
Now, even with exercise and things like that, I noticed with some they like no because I work all day and then I come home and I'm with my family and then I'm too tired to do anything. So I just okay, but for me, I always took my son with me since he was a baby. He followed because I have a little home gym. Like everybody obviously don't have maybe that luxury because I planned for it years before. I knew once I have a child, I'm gonna have a space in my house. But even if you just have a dumbbell and a mat, whatever, even if you have nothing, so we can do simple things at home. And for me, I never felt guilty for training with my son or with him around me just because I wasn't engaging or like playing with him or I wasn't, doing something like kid activity with him. But still, like he is with me, he's asking me questions and he tries to mimic me. And it's like all these lessons they learn from just observing you. So that if you spend 15, 20 minutes on the living room floor, you do some core here, postpartum core exercises and do something simple like I don't care if you do some squats or jumping jacks, whatever you want to do is just, and you can even do it like playfully with them, engage them like when they're older. Would you want to join me? How many count for me? Do all these things and it's play to them. You're not wasting time
Right.
away
You're
from
making
them.
them a part of it.
Yeah, it's like they're there with you and they observing you and it's part of their day.
Yeah. It goes back to the identity thing though, right? Like your identity is not one to make sure that you set aside that time, even if your people are around you. Probably
Yeah.
50% that, 50% you just actually don't really want to do it. And you can use the time excuse all you want.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Well,
Yeah,
to that,
it is.
what do you say to like mom that's listening or watching, who's tired, overwhelmed, exhausted? How important is that fitness component to mitigating all that tiredness and overwhelm? Like, how important would you say finding 10 minutes to do something is in terms of how they're going to fight the other side of that coin?
I think like doing anything, even if it's not even exercise, because it's always when I know when you feel really tired and you're just exhausted and it's just, oh, I don't want to have one more thing on my to-do list. But it's just as you mentioned, if you just find in that 5-10 minutes consistently for yourself, I feel like it's so much more than just doing the thing. It's just okay. Let's say I do a core exercise. Yes, my core gets stronger and all this. I think it's all the other, as you said, identity based. You start shifting your identity. Like all of a sudden, I am a person that gets things done. Even though I'm busy, I do take 5 minutes for myself. I can do that. Yeah, I'm the person like I got my own back. I show up. You feel you build momentum because now, oh, I'm doing something every day. I think that is the biggest part that helps you dig yourself out of that ditch of feeling like nothing can change. because no, I can actually change something, and it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you do it every day. I think that is the biggest gift those small moments do. But also the danger that I think also is in this culture a little bit, not even culture, like our, at least for
Time.
what I
Yeah.
had is that all or nothing. Like if I can't do it optimally, like I know I should exercise at least 30 minutes a day, or like when I exercise, it needs to be 30, 45 minutes. I had that mindset when I first started, when I had my baby, and it was just, forget it, Marlene. Like, what are you even thinking? It's not gonna happen.
I
So for
have that
me,
disease too.
yeah, high five for that.
A
Yeah.
hard one.
Amen, amen, sister. But
Yeah.
it's so I think we all get into that a little bit about, again, about doing enough from being enough. That we set this ridiculous standard that it's I didn't do enough unless I did 30 minutes of exercise. And then we downplay it. Oh, I only did 5 minutes. You know, what's the point? Nothing is going to change with 5 minutes. I might as well not do it. So why should I force myself to do it for that long? And because it's not enough. That's that. Who says, like, why did 5 minutes of doing something become worse than doing absolutely nothing? So nothing will change. And for some reason, why is that better than giving yourself 5 to 10 minutes for you? It's impossible for that to be worse. So I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
again, where that came from, that it's just that again, we downplay our efforts. So like start with something small, and it's like I think they did this analogy of the airplane company. They wanted to save money. It's this huge airplane company, and they started, okay, we're gonna detract, like take away the 3 olives from the lunch that we hand out. And by doing that on every single plane, they saved like, I'm just making a number, but it was something ridiculous. Like we saved 50 million this year in costs, because it was a small thing, but it was over
Time
like
and
Yeah.
over a life.
time.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
even
All
like
of
I
it
said,
compounds.
yeah, it's even like I said, like if you're gonna play like a game, so say you have a red button and a green button. The red button, you can press it once, you get 10 million, like $1 million, and guaranteed. And then you have a green button, and you can press it once, but it's a 50-50 chance, but you can win 10 million. So if you press once, most people would go for red, right? Like I want the guaranteed 1 million. I have one shot. I'm not gonna waste it. But if you're like, okay, now you can press it 10 times. Do you want to go like 1 million, 1 million, ding, 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 ding? Or do you want to do 50% chance 10 times to get 10 million bucks? I would go green, like green, 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 green. Like at least I'll get 50 million.
Right, right.
Because it would be such like ridiculous. Maybe I'll get like a lot of like duds, but I'm probably gonna get more because I keep trying. I keep doing it consistently over time. And
Yeah.
that is what people like, you don't in life, you don't get to press the button just once. You can press that freaking button every single day and it will compound. Sometimes it will work out, sometimes it won't. But keep freaking pressing it and you will get results over time, no
I
matter how
agree.
small
Yeah.
it is.
I
I
agree
agree.
100%.
There was something you said earlier about like where you grew up. It's like nowadays, how important do you think community is? Having a community of people that like are pursuing the same thing.
Oh, I think that's gold. I swear it's doing like I'm being this like CrossFit athlete, you're an individual. So I've always been like that. I like to do things alone and do like be in my corner and just dig my head down and get it done. But motherhood is not like that. I think most things are not like that. Because when you're in a community, you see people go through the same things. Some are a little bit behind, some are a bit in front. You learn from each other, you see different perspectives, you just have support. And I feel like that's is like when you don't have the motivation, when you don't have the energy to keep going, it's so nice to feel like you have some people pushing you from the back, like, yeah, you can do it, high-fiving you can do it, you go. Like it just helps so much. I don't know how you guys like notice like with if it's like by
Well,
community or
funny
not.
you say that because I just wrote about that this morning. It's one of the things about like I guess show weekend for us is the team. It's the group. It is no matter what level of competing they are in, having a moment to connect with people that are on a similar journey, almost like validates that you're not going at this alone. So you don't have to feel like you're on an island and that you're figuring it out by yourself. And it allows you, I guess, to not only have something to look forward to, but move further faster. Like if you want to go quick, like get around people that are pursuing the same thing, and you start to pick up cues and you start to get more ideas and you catch some of that momentum. I think being in a group is invaluable, for like you said, most things.
Yeah, and like you said, for a lot of different reasons, whether it's because you can relate to somebody or whether somebody shows you what's possible, right? It's like, whoa, that person's even busier than I am, right? Or they have dealt a card that's harder than mine, and or get to a weekend where maybe your family's cheering for you, but nobody else other than the people that you're doing this with knows what it takes and how it felt, right? So there's a commonality there, and so I agree with you. I'm usually a loner too, or I'm like, I just do my thing, no one bother me. But at the same time, it's pretty magical to see community and camaraderie and what happens when all the energy gets together, because it's a mixture of like support and understanding, but also like fun. To me, it highlights everything in such a different way.
Yeah, and I think also nowadays, with compared to, like, speaking of back in the day, like, 70s and 80s compared to now, I think the advantage now is that because it's, as you said, when you're in a community, you need to pick your crowd, right? You need to, because you can have a lot of people like around you that are anything but helping, they're
Right. You
gonna,
gotta find your
like,
people.
yeah, and so I think that is like this era is very good, because now, even though you might not find them in person, you can find so many people like online and connect with them, and sit with them like they're I'm sitting with you, like this is awesome, like to connect with people that you share ideas with, they're the same wavelength, it's like fun. You couldn't do that before. It's just, and now you can
Absolutely.
literally find your tribe. Like these are the people, like you said, we're on the same path. We want the same thing, and we understand each other. As you say, it becomes fun because you actually, because
Yeah.
as you said, you can dig your head down and do your own thing, and then it's so nice to know that you can check in and like, I'm really stuck. Like, guys, help me. Like, I need a boost, and instead of just being stuck. And
Yeah.
it's just so reassuring to me to have that.
I agree, and I do want to make sure that we mentioned, like, where can people learn more about you and the Mighty Mom Blueprint?
For I'm creating a new website now, so it will be on my Instagram handle. So I think the Instagram is the easiest to find me, which is Mighty Moms Community. So
Okay,
there you can find me.
I'll
You
make
can
sure that I
find.
link it in the description and we put it in the show notes. I do want to ask, like, it's for the mom that is listening or watching that has heard all of this and she's like, I agree, but I have no idea where to start. Like, or like, I want that, but I have no idea what to do. What do you say to whether she's a new mom or a mom of three, four, five, whatever? Like, what do you say to that mom that just hasn't had a moment to, like, to take a moment? She hasn't had a moment to take a moment. Like, what do you say to her?
Yeah, it's like where to even start with. I think it's just, as we said, to sit back and recognize, like I said, okay, this is the phase, and where do I, like, am I stuck, or am I stuck because, and this self-sacrificing mentality because of what I think I should be, or am I actually looking forward to something different? And I think for me, if you really feel so exhausted that you don't even know where to start with, like, let's forget health journey, because we have talked about finding community. Like, even if community is not enough, find a coach or find something you resonate with that can help you, like find a professional that can help you with those kind of goals. But I think the most important is, if you forget those things, is just to find one thing to just do something that makes you happy. You know, like if it's a simple thing, if it's going for a walk outside, get some sunshine, if that's what you need to just feel like you can take a deep breath again, if it's sitting with, play PlayStation for whatever, like find a game on PlayStation that you enjoy doing, sit and call your long-term friend that you haven't connected with in a long time. It's just finding these micro moments that just makes you feel happy, because we get so stuck in doing, performing, thinking of others and what we should be doing, rather than just like that we lose the joy in what we're doing. We just get lost in the results and forget the process. That we need to actually enjoy the process of getting there, because it's always going to be a process. Because once you reach a result, as we human beings, we want to get the next step and the next step and the next step. You know, we
You're
want to
always in
improve.
process, no matter what.
Yeah, we want to explore. Like, hey, okay, I could do this, but what can I do next? Like, can I do this? Can I do that? You know, it's we want growth. It's so if you think you're gonna be happy when you get X, Y, and Z, you're not, because you're gonna look at the next thing that's like in the horizon. So find something you just makes you happy in that process, because it needs to be enjoyable. Life needs to be enjoyable, whether it's movement, food needs to be enjoyable, everything. Like, just otherwise you won't stick to anything, and life is going to be terribly boring, and it's going to feel like it sucks, to be blunt.
Literally. Well, to piggyback on that, on the question and on the answer, to the three of us, this question might seem like the response is obvious, but if it was obvious, everybody would be doing it, right? Like, the reason why we love to have these conversations is because we want to reach as many women as we can, just like you, and kind of wake them up to all the possibilities and to all the different ways they can think, maybe offer them a perspective shift they didn't even know they needed. And so I think it's important, to ask and to piggyback, what do you think is the most impactful thing about somebody doing this work? Right? Whether it's doing the one thing or full blown, your 4 pillars, with the identity work, or our, process and coaching program where we could take you all the way to the stage, whatever it may be. What do you think is the most impactful thing about not staying in that place that you just described, which is what happens, right? What is the most impactful thing about going to the other side, in your opinion, from what you've seen?
For me, I think it's like for me, it's like it gives an ease. I think once you make a decision of what you're going to do, I think that it's like a load comes off people's shoulders. I guess you struggle and you like half in and you dabble and you do and it doesn't work. And it's just, once you go all in with something, like, no, this needs to happen, I think that just makes the whole thing easier. Like, then you feel like you see the people that actually they decide and they're in, like they're struggling, but they're in it, right? They just get the results quicker. They feel happier about it. They handle things better. I think, like I say, it's just makes people's lives so much lighter and easier to just take that step. I think, because what makes us feel frustrated is that you, like I said, you wheel and deal and you,
all the time.
yeah, you fail over and over and you feel absolute horrible about yourself over and over. And for me, it's like my greatest fear is that, like, I don't want to keep failing in that way, that becomes my identity. That I'm the failure, I can't do anything about it. I do not ever want to come to believing that I can never change something. Even if I can change something a percent of, like, in the right direction, that is good enough for me, as long as I don't stay stuck. So I think that is, once you, as you said, do something more like full-heartedly, it's just you don't recognize yourself after a while. Like, you start acting differently, you start feeling differently. It's just overhauls your life. I can't describe it, really. It's just...
That's the answer that I guess I wanted, because I feel the same way. On the other side of that, it's a completely different life. It's a completely different you. It's a completely different relationship with everybody around you. So I agree. That was awesome.
That was awesome. And again, like, I'm so glad that we had this conversation at the beginning of the year. Thank you for coming on the show. I think more women need to hear all of this. This is one of those episodes that people can go back and like write things down and even ask questions, and I'll be sure that Marlene gets them. But I'm very excited that we are starting the year in this direction, because it's a conversation that has to be had more and isn't had enough. And I'm hoping that people get a lot out of this episode. So Marlene, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. For everybody that is listening, watching, do all the things that people do on podcasts: like, share, comment, reply, send questions. And till next time, peace out, everybody.
Bye, guys.